Each of us has a shadow, and the less we are aware of it, the darker and more powerful it becomes. If you're aware of your insecurity, you can work with it, but if you bury it deep inside, it may burst out unexpectedly and ruin even your kindest intentions. Psychologist Carl Jung said, "There are two types of shadow, personal and collective. The personal shadow is who you don't want to be. Your fears, your weaknesses, the emotions you hide, anger, envy, shame. When you're scared, drunk, or furious, the shadow rises to the surface. You might say something cruel, you might do something you won't even understand later. Often we deny our darker sides and project them onto others. For example, you want to be brave, but you criticize brave people. Why? Because your shadow is you, just repressed. If you refuse to face your shadow, it becomes independent. It starts to control you from within. But if you dare to look inside, you'll find more than just darkness." Jung said, "The shadow hides not only your flaws, but also your instincts, your strength, your energy, your creativity. You've simply forgotten that." Jung wrote, "The shadow is not an enemy. It's like a stranger within you, someone you must learn to live with. Sometimes you yield to it, sometimes you stop it, sometimes you embrace it. The shadow appears in dreams, often as a person of your own gender. That person shows you what you're hiding, what you fear, who you could become. Working with your shadow is a kind of hero's journey. Like an ancient warrior, you descend into your own soul, not to destroy the darkness, but to bring it light and take its power back. The shadow can be dark, but inside there is light. It holds strength, the ability to feel, the power to create. If you don't accept your shadow, you lose a part of yourself. For example, you think being decisive means being rude. You don't want that, so you stay silent. You're afraid to speak up. You don't ask for a raise. You don't defend your boundaries. You miss opportunities. Then you feel angry at those braver than you. You feel envy. You feel shame. Your shadow grows even darker." Carl Jung said, "Pride is the problem of the ego, and the ego must step aside for the shadow to enter your life." The shadow often comes in dreams. It is an inner judge. It speaks without words. You wake up and you feel shame. But shame is not your enemy. It is a signal that you're denying something inside. To work with the shadow means to study yourself, to observe your reactions, your emotional outbursts, your anger, your resentment, and to ask, what part of me is this? Why does it matter so much? That is shadow work. It is not easy. It is not fast. It is a long path, like the trials of an ancient hero. But at the end, you don't find perfection. You find wholeness. The shadow is not only personal. There is also a collective shadow. It lives in society, in culture, in the whole history of humanity. It shows up when people lose their conscience, when violence becomes normal, when other people's pain becomes invisible. The collective shadow is war, genocide, persecution, lies, avoiding responsibility. It's when one nation humiliates another, when languages are banned, when cultures are destroyed, when a person begins to hate their own people, their own roots, their own body, their own soul. That too is shadow. But it's no longer inside you. It's all around you. Christianity called it evil, the devil. Jung said, "To avoid falling into evil, you must first see your shadow and understand what you are capable of, both good and terrible." If a society refuses to see its shadow, disaster follows. Like in Nazi Germany, ordinary people became executioners because their shadows came out and merged into one, a collective, demonic force. That's why it must begin with you. See your personal shadow, understand your reactions, free yourself from projections. Only then you won't be part of collective evil. When you're honest with yourself, you become light, and your light helps others. Then we stop wanting war. We stop repeating horror, because darkness lives inside us, but so does the light. and we are the ones who choose which one to let in.